sensation is so sweet. Your vibrations are burning up my feet, 'cause you're my babe. Yes, you're my love. Oh, girl, I'm just a cheapster for your love. I said, girl, I'm just a vampire for your love. And I'm gonna suck you.
Start your day with a bang. Wake up with me, Dino.
Smile.
On Good Morning MK, weekdays 8 till 10. Go on, you know you want to.
Bring me fun, bring me sunshine, bring me...
We've got all that and lots more. Have breakfast with me and don't burn the toast.
Hey!
About Mark Bolan and his music that sort of captured your imagination. I know you sort of mentioned how you'd seen him and how you started through Jeepster. What was it that sort of, sort of captured your imagination? Why Mark Bolan and not sort of anybody else?
Well, I do love a lot of rock music. I'm a great fan of other people. Like I love hard rock. I'm a great fan of Bob Dylan, for instance. I love Bob Dylan. But Mark, to me, there was something about the time. The time, of course, like when you're a teenager, timing is all. And I think Mark came at a time when nobody else in music, inverted commas, spoke to me. Mark kind of came along. He was different. I've always liked things that are slightly left of field. And growing up, a lot of things were the same. And everyone was still, T-shirts and jeans. And Mark Bolan came along, and my God, he looked absolutely not a T-shirt and jeans guy. And it was so many things. It was the fact that, the way he played guitar, that guitar was moulded to him. When I saw a photograph of him playing, or even miming on top of the pops with it, it was part of him. It didn't seem sort of awkward. And I thought, I want to play guitar like him. And if it wasn't for Mark Bolan, I may have not even learned to play guitar. So it was his guitar style, the way he came across, the way he spoke. He was a very, to me, a really intelligent guy. He wasn't one of the pop stars of the day that couldn't speak. He was very eloquent in his diction and everything, the way he spoke to journalists and the press and everyone. So it was everything wrapped up. It was all his persona, the way he sounded, the way he spoke, the way he dressed, the way he carried himself. I didn't realise that at the time, but looking back on it, that was the reason why I stuck with it right until 2013.
Yeah, because Mark Bolan was sort of quoted as sort of getting his sort of lyrics and his inspiration from people like C.S. Lewis, Oscar Wilde, and Edward Lear and Tolkien, and all those sort of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think again, and Mark himself was a massive fan of Bob Dylan, and it's lovely. I look back on it and think, well, if it wasn't for Mark Bolan actually citing Bob Dylan as a major influence in his lyric writing, I may have not even bothered to listen to Bob Dylan. Mm. So, you've got all these kind of connections that Mark really has kind of paved the way in my life, really. Yeah, his influence influenced me. People like Tolkien, I would never have got into, the writings of like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and those sort of books myself, if it wasn't for Mark. But of course, Mark got out of that a little bit. That was very Tyrannosaurus Rex period. He got more, obviously, rock and roll when he became, the electric rock star.
Yeah, and the electric.
Because he was also interested in people like, early Elvis Presley, Eddie Cochran, Chuck Berry, those kind of early rock and rollers, and I think that influenced a lot of the rock and roll T-Rex side of him. Mm.
So you spoke about your sort of playing the guitar. How did you sort of your musical ability sort of begin and develop and things like that? You obviously learned to play the guitar. Was it to take on the persona of T-Rextasy, or had you played the guitar before?
Oh no, I mean I sort of slowly learned to play on acoustic guitar, then it developed into electric guitar. I've done various things in music. I've been involved in music since about 1979, around that kind of period of time, and I've had various publishing deals. I was signed up with a guy who used to manage a guy called John Waite, who used to be in a band called The Babies. His name was Adrian Miller, and I was a songwriter for him. And then that collapsed, and before that I was in I sang for a hard rock band called Tara Zara in the 80s, and we had a lot of coverage by a magazine called Kerrang, and we were always in Kerrang, and do you remember the newspaper Sounds, who was in competition with NME?
Yes, I do indeed, yes.
We were in Sounds a lot, and there was a journalist called Marianne Hobbs who used to review us quite a lot, and she now is a DJ for Radio 1.
That's right, yes.
So, but ironically, years later, we did record, in fact, in the mid-'80s, an album under Tara Zara. But because of T-Rextasy, a great little rock label called Angel Air, who were based in Lowestoft, got in touch with me, heard about the recordings I had done previously, in my formative years, if you like, and offered to release the whole Tara Zara album. So if it wasn't for T-Rextasy, the Tara Zara album would never have seen the light of day. So I owe a lot, really, for not only my own career, but what I'm doing now as well.
Well, that's good. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not one of these people that would ever forget my formative years. I'm very proud because that's kind of led me to really what I'm doing now, which is 20 years down the line, T-Rextasy is still going strong.
Yeah. So when did you actually realise you could be Mark Boland?
It's a strange thing. I know there's a lot of tribute bands out there that actually go by the name of the artist. You know, they're actually called, hey, I'm Freddie Mercury and I sing from a tribute band, Queen tribute band. I've never done that. I've always been Danielz, and I've left it to other people to watch me on stage give out the persona of, hopefully, how Mark performed. I don't really like... I think if I called myself Mark on stage, I think, A, it will be disrespectful to Mark and his fans, and also it'll come across as more of a stage performance rather than a gig or a rock and roll show. And I think that's very important to me. I've never gone on stage as Mark Boland.
But a lot of people say you actually look like him because you're, without being unkind, you're fairly short for a man. You're 5'7". Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, which is great because that was exactly the height of Mark. You know what was great was the first time I met Tony Visconti before we became friends. We went to there was an unveiling of an anniversary plaque in Barnes, and we were all invited to this. And when I was standing next to Tony Visconti, he was actually married at the time to a woman called May Pang, who was, I don't know if you remember, The Lost Weekend with John Lennon, but she was with John Lennon for some time. But she was married to Tony Visconti in the late 90s. And Tony Visconti turned to May Pang and he said to her, "My God, Danielz is even the same height as Mark." So that was really nice because, getting it again from the horse's mouth, if you like, someone that was that close to Mark. There's all these kind of strange connections that kind of have worked. I ended up the same height as Mark, and there's so many. We could go on talking about the connections forever, really.
Well, that's great. So how many years have you been playing and touring with T-Rextasy themselves?
Well, I've been doing T-Rextasy since the 18th of September 1992. I did a small pub called the Dove in Hackney in the East End of London. And the strange thing about that, Bill Legend, Mark's drummer, was at that gig. He came along to see us at that gig, and also a promoter. And from that day, we ended up getting some decent gigs. To be quite honest with you, I thought